The drama could not be any higher right now on Capitol Hill. Senators voted 51-49 to advance the Supreme Court nomination of Brett Kavanaugh. 51-49, rather. That is as slim a majority and a margin as you can get in the United States Senate. Now, the final vote is expected to be held at some point tomorrow. It is not over yet. All eyes are on 3 senators who voted yes today on that procedural measure, Republicans Susan Collins and Jeff Flake, and Democrat Joe Manchin, any of whom could vote the other way when it comes to the actual vote to confirm Brett Kavanaugh. Another holdout you see there on your screen, Republican Senator Lisa Murkowski. She voted no and is expected to stay that way for the final vote. Now, as for Senator Collins, she told reporters on her way to the procedural vote that she won't announce her final vote on the nomination until 3 o'clock Eastern today.
I will be voting yes on proceeding to the final confirmation vote, and I will announce my intentions on how to vote later today. Thank you.
Have you made your mind up, Senator? Senator, have you made your mind up on your final vote, though? Is it conceivable that your votes could be different between Senator, have you made your final vote?
Perjured himself. Don't put a liar on the court.
Is your mind made up?
Don't put a liar on the court. 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 Don't put a liar on the court.
Boy, does that give you a sense of the intensity on Capitol Hill right now surrounding these senators, protesters on the heels of Senator Collins there. Now, today's vote came after weeks of raw emotion, shocking allegations, confrontations, and delays. I want to get right to CNN's Phil Mattingly and Jeff Zeleny. They've both covered it from the start. Phil, I want to get straight to you. You have some new reporting on Senator Murkowski's thinking.
Yeah, obviously she was the big news of that procedural vote, deciding to vote no, standing up quietly, saying no, then sitting back down during the roll call. She just told reporters that she will be a no for the final vote as well, saying Brett Kavanaugh is not the right man at this time, also saying that this was one of the toughest decisions she's ever had to make. And I think it's really important to point to that. A lot of people have been watching these votes or these undecided senators and saying, well, what are the politics? What's the polling here? What's this going to mean for their reelect either in 2018 or 2020? These senators have been genuinely grappling with this in a very, very difficult way over the course of the last couple of weeks. They've gone back and forth. They've read FBI investigations. They've heard from constituents. They've met with sexual assault survivors. This is why this is such a complex issue. This is why this is such a complex vote. Now, Dana, I will tell you, while we know now that Senator Murkowski is a no, and we know on the procedural vote they did get the requisite number of votes to move it forward, as you noted, it's possible that Senators Collins, Flake, and Manchin could flip their votes to no at the final vote. I will tell you this, as of late yesterday afternoon, I was broaching this possibility with senior Republican staffers who basically scoffed at the idea. How on a confirmation could you vote yes to advance and then no to confirm? Basically saying you can't have it both ways. The politics of it are extremely nasty and it wouldn't play out well. Essentially, do what you need to do, set your decision and go forward. And yet, here we are, 24 hours later. That's exactly what people are weighing right now. As you noted, the key thing to watch, I just spoke to Senator John Cornyn, the number 2 in the U.S. Senate, is Susan Collins at 3 p.m. What she says will go a long way to dictating what happens in that final confirmation vote. And Senator Cornyn, the whip and the second-ranking Republican in the Senate, says Senator Collins has not shared the information about what she's going to say to anybody in leadership.
Maybe she doesn't know what she's going to say yet. I think that is entirely possible. Phil, thank you so much. Underscoring what Phil just reported, that Lisa Murkowski was a no, voted against her party on the procedural vote, and she is now making clear that that is a full no. She's voting no on the confirmation of Brett Kavanaugh. On that note, let's get straight to Jeff Zeleny at the White House. Jeff, the president was watching as this vote was taking place?
He was, Dana. He doesn't watch many procedural votes in the Senate, but he was watching, like all of Washington and much of the country as well, watching that procedural vote. But we've not heard from the president, and that is interesting as well. For as loud and chaotic as things are there in the halls of the Senate and the halls of the Senate office building, it is very quiet here today, and that is by design. The president is not saying much about this at all. He sent out a short message congratulating the Senate for moving this forward, but boy, his tone has changed dramatically from the week. You'll remember earlier this week at that campaign rally in Mississippi, he was mocking Christine Blasey Ford throughout the rally. Last night at a rally in Minnesota, he barely talked about Judge Kavanaugh. He said he hopes the Senate confirms Judge Kavanaugh, but boy, he is not saying much. He wants this confirmation to happen, and then he plans to use this in the midterm election fight. Regardless of what happens over the next 24, 36, 48 hours, if Judge Kavanaugh is confirmed or not, Republicans believe that this is a weapon for them in the midterm elections. Of course, Democrats believe it is as well. But the president does not have any public events on his schedule. His silence so interesting because at this point, he is a bystander in this process. If the judge is confirmed and becomes Justice Kavanaugh, this will be a monumental development in the Trump presidency, having two key appointments to the Supreme Court. But as of now, Dana, it's out of his control. He cannot, call senators and sway them. So he's watching, like everyone else, what is going to happen on Capitol Hill. Dana? Major
legacy moment that he has no control over. It's so well put. Thank you so much, Jeff.